We were taught at a young age, go to school, get a job, stay safe in that job, pay your bills, repeat. I was in that lifestyle for the longest time, and I kept thinking and I kept waking up almost every single day saying, this cannot be my life. This cannot be it for me. From everything that God has showed me from a young age, this cannot be it. And a lot of us as women, we feel disconnected from life right now. We feel deep down there has to be more than this, right? You realize that freedom matters more than just surviving. You realize you start questioning your lifestyle. You start questioning the time of freedom that you have. You start thinking about your purpose, about your future. That is what we're going to talk about today. Hi, in case you're new here, my name is Marietta, and this is the Kairos Destinada channel. It's a channel where we talk about traveling, talking about switching life up, talking about faith, talking about just life. Life in general as a woman. So whether it's you're single, whether you could be in a relationship, but still you're searching for something more individually as a woman, it could be different things. And when I look on the side is because of my notes, because I do not want to miss anything that God has told me to speak in this video. But as I was just saying, this is a year where things are going to be changing a lot. Things have already changed a lot. For me personally, it started to change last year when I was starting to realize that I was surviving, but I wasn't really living. I wasn't happy. Like, I wasn't physically present in my own life, and I was emotionally exhausted. I kept on helping everyone else believe in themselves while I was struggling to believe in myself. Does that sound familiar to you? I bet it does, because we as women, we always put someone else in front and then we come later, right? And that's something that we just do as women, most of us. So for me, honestly, shift started, not shift, my shift. We're not in Egypt. My shift started when I was laid off last year. I just remember last year in May, we had this family vacation. My family lives in the Caribbean, and I go there every year to visit them. Last year was special because both my parents were there, all my siblings were there, my niece and my nephew, my brother-in-law, and we were celebrating my niece and my nephew's birthday. I stayed at my younger sister's house, and everyone else stayed at my parents' house. And then the youngest sister already lived with my parents. We were all together. First, all of us together, family vacation in basically a decade. Because I've been traveling, living abroad. My older sister lives in the Netherlands. And then my dad would go for work back and forth a lot. There was not a point where we were all together. So I just remember being on that trip, and I was working. I worked remote at that time for an American company. I liked the work that I did, but because I had to build up a whole department basically from scratch on my own, and I was the only one that was leading that department and forming and building, I would put a lot of time and effort in that, because I'm the type of person that if you ask me to do something for work or whatever it is, I'm going to give it 100%. I go the extra mile. So even if, my work is from 9 to 5, I would a lot of times at 7, I would still be working, because I don't want to leave everything for the day before. I don't want to hinder anyone else. And because also I was working with people externally, I just wanted to be kind of prepared for anything and work and just, yeah, really take the leadership of that. So I was working a lot, and I just remember my niece and my nephew, which I adore. They're kind of like my babies. They would come and they would ask me like, "Hey, Auntie, are you coming to the beach with us?" Or my niece would be like, "Hey, Auntie, are you coming to play with us?" Or my nephew would come and ask like to go and do something, and I'm like, "I can't, I have to work." Every time that happened, I felt like a sting, because I felt like I was missing out. I was on vacation without being on vacation. And I started to realize how much of life I was missing. And I started to realize that to the T, when I had that conversation with my mom, and she was like, she set me down and she was like, I'm proud of you for everything that you're doing and everything that you have accomplished. But you do realize that you're here on vacation with your family and you haven't actually spent time with your family. You're in your room, basically sitting at a desk working. And you have like these two little munchkins who their birthday are coming up, and they're here basically at this age. They're aware of things, and you're not able to spend any time with them. You're missing out on a lot of things. And it's not the first time. It's been multiple times where even when I would come to Spain to visit you and you had to work, you couldn't you would make time for us, but you weren't actually present. And that hit me to my core because I was like, I am missing on moments trying to survive. I am a single woman. I have my own apartment, which I'm blessed with. That hit me. And I literally, from that day on, I kept on thinking more and more because more things were happening throughout the year. Like, for instance, that my grandma got really, really sick, and it felt like she was on her deathbed. And I went to the Netherlands, is where she lives, and I was there trying to help and do whatever I can to make her feel better, to whatever I can in that moment. But I still had to work. I couldn't take days and days off. I was still working a lot. And that hit me even more. And I actually got fired when I was there. It was crazy because the last few, I'm going to say 2 weeks that I was there, and my grandma was like, she had more prep in her step and she was feeling better. The moment I got fired, I was like, oh my gosh. The first thing I had in my mind was like, how am I going to pay my bills now? How am I going to? I was buying things for my family. Even though I don't have to, I was buying things for my family because I love to do that. I love to give to other people. I wasn't home. I was just thinking of all of these things that I couldn't do anymore. And then the switch came and my mom set me down. We talked and I told her like what happened. And she was like, this is not the first time that this happened. This is not the first time that you're in this type of situation. It's the first time it happened the way that it happened here. But you will bounce back. And not only will you bounce back, you will bounce back in a way that you never thought that you would bounce back. You're not going back. Basically, what she was saying without saying it was, you're not going back to Egypt. You're actually going to the promised land right now. And everything that you missed, it's time for you to take that back. It's time for you to not miss anymore. And everything that you were prepped during this time that you were working for Egypt, you're actually going to be using it for your promised land. And just remember the things that you've said that you wanted to do and that you will do, basically from when you were a little girl, which was build my own business. Now, I'm not going to lie, it was a tough season. It wasn't a walk in the park, but I have learned so much. I have healed so much. I've had so much. God has just, it's crazy. Like, and I'm trying not to cry, but just remember going through those moments and talking with my mom about it. And she was just like, you're going through it right now. And I know it. Everyone goes through seasons like this. But there will be a moment where you would sit down, you would reflect, and you would not even remember the pain. You would remember the pain, but you would not remember the pain the way that you remember it right now. And you will sit down, you will reflect on every single thing that you're going through, and you would understand why it happened, understand what needed to happen for you to go to where you need to go, because where you're going is going to be way bigger than you ever imagined. And just thinking about that, transition seasons feel uncomfortable. Whenever a door closes, it's just redirection. And fear wants us to return back to what is familiar with us. I think I was trying so hard to live in the moment, but also go back because I was applying for jobs. I'm not going to lie. I knew that I had to build, but in my brain was like, how am I able to build? And I don't even have money to pay my bills. I don't have, how am I saying that I want to provide jobs for others? I want to serve others when I can't even serve myself. And God was actually trying to move me forward. God was trying to show me things in a different way. And one of the things was trust in Him. Stop giving people the key and the power to provide for you when the one that made this entire universe, the one that made every single thing happen, is literally with you right now, ready for you to push you to hold your right hand? The Bible says it. I will hold you with my powerful right hand. God is holding my hand and pulling me through. Why would I keep on putting my eggs in someone else's basket to make not only their dream come true, but give them the power to decide what my faith or destiny is? And that is honestly why I am building the business that I'm building right now, why I'm building a community, because I want women all over. I want every single woman to know the power that they have within them because God put it in them. God put it in us. I want women to know that they can travel. If they want to travel tomorrow, they can travel. I want women to know that if you have in your, in your gut that you were made to lead, that you were made to build a business, that you were made to serve and help others, that you were made to build something to help and provide. You know that you were made for something bigger. I want you to know that you can and you will. Doesn't matter how scared you are. It doesn't matter how unqualified you feel like you are. Because at the end, we are all unqualified, okay? But I want you to remember that you are qualified because you have God in you. You have God that's holding your hand with his right, powerful, mighty hand. And he is with you to build this with you, to give you what he created for you, to have you walk in the obedience and not wake up and thinking, is this really my life? Is this all it? But to actually have you waking up like, this is my life? Like, what? That is what he called us for. Another thing that I wanted to reflect on, I was comparing myself so much with other people, which is a trap. That's a trap because everyone goes through it and you never know what happens behind closed doors. Okay. It could look flashy on the outside, but you don't know what happened on the inside. And one of the things that I was doing a lot was I was questioning myself. I was doubting in my own voice. I was shrinking myself, wondering and thinking, who would listen to me in this stage of life that I am right now? I am 39. I'm living by myself. I am not married. I don't have any kids, which I always thought by this age I would, I would be married. I would have kids. I would have it all together. Little did I know. And then God would show me to the Bible. So, as I mentioned before, I was reading Exodus a lot in the story of Moses, and Moses was questioning himself, Israel. He did not feel ready, he didn't feel qualified, but still, what did God do? Did God say, yeah, you're right. You're not ready. You're not qualified. Go in a few years, I'll get back. And then when you're able to speak, then I'll send. God was like, who gave you that mouth? Who formed you? Who is the one that's standing in front of you right now and talking to you straight and telling you to go? A lot of us are feeling disqualified. A lot of us are feeling fear, which is normal. We're not perfect. But one of the things that I've learned and that I've always did, which is why I traveled, which is why I was in that first wave of working remote, which is why I'm building community right now, building a business, which is why I'm doing all of these things, is confidence often comes after action. It doesn't come before. No one in this planet can tell you that it does. Everyone out here is doing it in fear. It's when you do that in fear and you starting to understand how things work. And even when you're doing it, even during that time, there will be moments where you would doubt yourself. There will be moments where you will fear. But keep on believing in God. Keep on holding his hand and keep on doing it. Because yes, God is there. Yes, God put that seed in your hand. But you're the one that needs to plant it. You're the one that needs to give that water. God is giving us the water, but you're the one that needs to, water it. So do it scared. Join me on this journey. Whatever it is that you're doing right now, do it scared. One of the other things that I was dealing with was I kept seeing greatness in everyone else. And that was making me minimize what was in me, which again is crazy because I am always that person that would tell everyone else how great they are. When it came to me, I was always putting myself in the back. I was always making myself small. And I just want to let you know that fear does not cancel your purpose. Even if you don't feel ready, taking that first step, it's beyond, I don't even have the words. It's crazy, but it is so freeing. It feels exciting until it actually starts disappearing. Or not disappearing, but when uncertainty starts to appear. And that brings me back again to when the Israelites were leaving Egypt and they were in the wilderness and it was just up and down, right? It was up and down, like from the moment that they were chased by the Egyptians and how God was using Moses with his staff to part the sea so the Israelites can pass through, and then before their eyes the Egyptians were actually defeated. But then when they were going further into the wilderness, and the Bible even says like God didn't give them the straight line, he gave like a crooked line to go around, because if they would have gone straight they wouldn't have survived. There were so many obstacles and the enemy was like so fierce. God knew that they would definitely return. And so they went around to go into the promised land. But because they went around, it took longer, right? And so a lot of things were happening, from not having food, not having water. They had to go through a desert. There were just all of these times that they would have to go through. And it just makes me think of our journey when we step out and leave Egypt to go to the promised land. And it's not going to be a straight line. It's not going to be all yandy dandy woo, all day. There's going to be hardships, but trust. That's one of the things that trust and praying. That's one of the main things that I've been doing, and I encourage you to do as well, because wanting to go back is real and it's something that it will push you to your core. There will be moments that you do want to go back to that 9 to 5 and be like, oh no, I don't want this because the growth feels uncomfortable. But freedom requires trust. And that's why actually started this channel. God has nudged me for so long, and it's time. It's time. It's time to get out of that. This cannot be my life. I've asked, I've prayed, I've fasted, I've cried. Oh, how much I've cried for something different. And I'm stepping into that life of difference. And now God is like, okay, it's time to build. And I have been building, and now it's time to build this channel as well. And one of the things that you're going to be seeing here is how I'm building my business and how I am bringing you with me to build as well. Rebuilding your confidence. We're going to be talking about solo travel. We're going to be talking about faith. I'm going to be documenting my journey. I'm going to be talking a little bit about how I became a UGC creator in preparation to be on YouTube, which is crazy. I'm going to talk about freedom lifestyle. I'm going to be talking about the wins and the failures. We're going to be having some honest conversation, and I'm just want us to document. And I don't just want to talk about me, but I want to talk about us. I want to see your testimonial. I want to see what you're building. I want to hear all of those things. I'm building a community, and it's all about that growth, seeing that growth in real time. I'm not here to pretend like I have all of the answers, because I don't, but I am here to build this in real time with you. If you feel this tug as well, this is definitely your sign. And I'm going to keep on tugging you until you take that step, and we're building together. So this is channel basically for the woman who wants to feel heard. You want to feel seen. You want to be part of a community. You want to take action. You want to help build a community. This is our channel. And I just want to leave you with one last thing that I really want you to understand. And I'm saying this for myself as well. It's easy for us to see greatness in everyone else and minimize ourselves. But uniqueness is in your voice. Uniqueness is in your energy. Uniqueness is in your story. Uniqueness is in your perspective. Uniqueness is in your journey. the thing that you might want to do, someone else is already doing it. There's hardly anything on this planet right now that doesn't already exist. But as I always say, and as I would always say at the end of each and every video, no one can do what you do, how you do it. Okay? So even if 1,000,000 people are doing what you want to do, your story matters. Your journey matters. Your voice matters. Build it. Take that first leap. Take that first step. It doesn't matter how small it is, because at the end, that small thing is going to become something big. If you want to start traveling, just start looking at countries that you want to go to. If you want to build your business, start thinking, what is it that I enjoy doing? What is it that people come to me for? If you want to switch from a 9 to 5 corporate to working remotely, start thinking, is what I'm doing in the 9 to 5, can I do it remote? Can I talk maybe to my manager and switch it up, go hybrid? Or can I go full time? Or do I need to pick another company to go fully? Do I need to go in another area? If you're thinking that you want to do a career transition, which I did at the age of, what was I, 36, something like that. I've had a lot of career transitions. If that's what you want to do, don't put in your head, I'm too old. I can't do this. I'm too old to learn. I'm too old to transition. I'm not smart enough. I'm not this enough. Do it. Everything that you've done in your life, were you born and you start walking? Were you born and you start riding your bike? Were you born and you're able to stand in the kitchen and cook? Were you born to have all these conversations with people? Were you born and just do what you do? No, you took that first step and you did it. So why is it with any different with this? Take the leap. Take that first step. You don't need to have it all figured out. You just need to take one small step, and that movement will create more and more clarity, and it will create faster than you can even imagine. Okay. So remember, no one can do what you do, how you do it. I believe in you. Your uniqueness is power. Take that one small step today. I believe in you, and I will see you in the next one. Ciao, ciao.